Namaste everybody, welcome to Friday's Explore session. So hello Pippi. So we're going to look at a 60-minute session today to really open up the back. Pretty similar to what we've been doing over the last few weeks, just keeping mobile where we weren't maybe moving around as much as we were before. So particularly looking at shoulders and hips today. What you might want to do is just take a quick pause and grab a strap or a scarf or something sort of quite long where you can hold your leg out straight, and also a couple of sofa cushions, something that you can pop under your bottom and under your back when we get to those points. So when you gather those things together, we're going to bring ourselves into a lying position. So we're going to lie with our legs bent to open up the back. So when you're ready, you can relax yourself down to the floor. And bring yourself into practice. So just stretch through the top of the head and tuck the chin in just lightly to lengthen the back of the neck. Push down through both feet and lift the tail. Curl the bottom of the spine, the sacrum, into the floor and roll the back of the pelvis down. And see if you can just touch coccyx into the floor without any discomfort in the lower back. And then level off your pelvis. Bring the legs nicely in line with the hip joints and the arms just open and out to the side. I just find rolling my palms open just opens up the shoulder and the top of the chest just a little bit more. So just settle here for a moment, nicely leveled off. There's natural curve underneath the neck and underneath the lower back, so that's entirely right that there's bits of your back not on the floor. We're going to focus here on the breathing, so we're going to really breathe into the belly. Bring that breath up to the top of the chest. Takes a little bit of practice. And then tuck the belly, or drop the belly as it were, back in to push the breath out. So diaphragmatic breathing. Take your time with this. Focus on how you can get as much breath in as possible without gasping or without straining. Bringing the breath up to the top of the lungs, and with each breath you can feel that it's a better quality breath than the one that went previously. Sighing the breath away. Keep thinking about the breath here as we move into our first sort of stretches and hip openers. So we're going to bring in Mula Bandha, pelvic floor, tuck in Uddiyana Bandha. It's a bit easier when you're in this position to do that. And then breathing out, we're going to bring the right knee into the chest. Breathe in, release. Breathe out, hug in. You can keep the other leg bent to start with. The chin will start to pop up to the ceiling, so just relay the head and stretch through the top of the head. Full out breath. Bandhas in, but still thinking about breathing now into the chest. High, wide and deep. Straightening that base leg out if you prefer to get a deeper stretch. And then when you're ready and you feel the stretch is ready to develop, hold. So hold the knee in. Don't hold your breath. Continue to breathe. Keep stretching through the top of the head and just guiding the chin down towards the floor. Then carefully does it release off, swap legs, place the other leg flat on, foot flat on the floor, and breathe out, hug in. Breathe in, release. Breathe out, hug in. Breathe in, release. And just repeat that until you feel that the hip is starting to open up a little bit, starting to release. You can feel more of a deeper sort of engagement through, an openness through the bottom rather. And you can feel the hip flexors sort of opening a little bit and stretching, even though they're squished in here. We're just getting the whole hip open here. Straighten that leg away if it's comfortable and hold and breathe out. Breathe in and hold and breathe out and hold. Keep those banders working as they're important supporting cast for this stretch. And when you're ready, release that off. Briefly hug both knees in, stir around a little bit. And then I'd like you to grab your strap or your scarf. So we're going to stir up each leg. So we'll stir up the right leg first, but it doesn't really matter which side you start. We're going to stretch the other leg away, okay? If you need to keep a relaxed softness in it, then just stick a cushion underneath your knee so you don't have that strain of the weight of the leg pulling the back. So if you need to, just support that straight leg. We're going to try and get this top leg straight. It might involve wrapping the hand around the scarf or the strap. Relay the head down, lengthen through the back of the neck, tucking the chin in lightly, and just push through the heel and straighten the leg, and then draw the energy of that leg back into the body. So it's straightening, but the knee isn't locked. The activity is about drawing in and down into the belly. So band is working here. And then swapping hands, carefully we're going to take this leg out. So we're going to stretch out over to the side. Not too worried if you roll off. What we're looking for here is to get a nice stretch from the gluteus medius down the ITB, down the outside of the leg. For lots of people, this can be quite uncomfortable. Keep the leg quite strong. So keep working. Try not to lock out the knee, but keep pushing through the heel and drawing the energy back up the leg into the belly and stretching out. Breathing here. It's going to take some breathing. It's going to feel a bit uncomfortable maybe. Just stretch out. Carefully bring that leg back up and out to the other side. Again, just carefully, as soon as this hip starts to roll off, this is the opposite hip, just place your hand on it and push through the heel of the straight leg. Rest the head down and stretch here. And you're holding the tension with the leg, so that potentially if you let go of the belt, the leg would stay, but you're just supporting with that arm and hand and the strap. Lovely. Bring it back to center. So release the strap, just briefly hug the leg in to release the bottom. So here we go, onto the other side, onto the left leg this time. You can catch with the opposite hand, have the leg bent to start with, kick through the heel, stretch up. The leg is not perpendicular to the floor here, it's very much off the upright, so we can get the focus into the leg. Draw the leg in, kick through the heel, and bring the leg up to parallel. And then perpendicular I should say, rather than parallel. Stretching away with that leg, and then carefully, with the opposite hand stretched away just as a counterweight, I'm going to keep that energy drawing up and down the leg, pushing through the heel, not locking out the knee. You do roll off, but keep that stretch to where it's a comfortable stretch. Now, it can get quite uncomfortable quite quickly, so ease that off if it's too much. Stretching out, stretching away. The activity is in the leg. Try and hold it if you can. If you let the strap go, the leg should hold. There's enough activity in the leg to hold that leg. You're not holding it up with the strap. Swap hands, stretch over to the other side. Fan the other arm out. As soon as that hip starts to rise, place the opposite hand on the opposite hip and stretch away. Breathing here, creating space around the pelvis. If you've been spending a lot of time sitting, then this is going to feel really nice, possibly a bit tight. So bring it back up and hug that knee into the chest. Lovely. Just releasing off, tucking the chin in. If your chin is starting to pop up to the ceiling, and then release that off. Final then, we can release the strap and pop it out to the side, and we're going to use it again in a bit. And this time, not the most attractive angle, spin round. Bring the soles of the feet together into your Konasana. So soles of the feet together, doesn't matter if they're far away, and if you want to, you can pop a cushion or two underneath your feet. So bring them in as much as you can, if you can, okay? So you can support them, or you can just have them on the floor. Just let the knees go. Relay the pelvis like we did at the start. So you may need to dip the coccyx in dip the lower back in and sort of move around to get to that pelvic neutral position where you look at the triangle down of your fingers and the fingers have disappeared just behind the thumbs. Okay, so pelvis neutral is going to feel a bit strange maybe. Lovely. If it's comfortable here, keep tucking the chin in, stretching through the top of the head. It's going to be a bit of a pull on the lower back and the shoulders, but up to you. Take a deep breath in. I'm going to bring the arms up. Lovely. Drop them back behind you. The arms don't have to be straight. And then breathe out. Bring the hands back down to the legs. Keep the spine nicely level. Relax through the hips. Just press maybe the outer edges of the feet together to try and release the hips a little bit more. Breathe in. Keep with the movement of the arms. The back will arch slightly, but try and neutralize it with the bandhas. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. So getting a bit of movement through the shoulders now, where the shoulders are a little bit static in the last couple of moves. And now we're just going to start to sort of oil up the shoulder heads and the joints. Lovely. Bring the hands underneath the legs. Bring the legs together. Hug both knees into the chest. We're going to bring ourselves now over to a kneeling position. So roll over to your knees, right or left, whichever's safest and comfortable for you, and push yourself up onto your knees. Now we're going to take a Virasana, so hero pose. It's early doors for hero pose. So for those of you who like it and can sit between the legs, then feel free. Those of you who don't like it and find kneeling difficult, this is where you're going to need your cushions. So you're going to bring your cushions into position. So what normally happens with Virasana is we talk about scooching the calves out the way, so squeezing those two big muscles plus related bits, gastroc and the soleus, out the way and sitting down. But that actually pushes those muscles into a slightly unusual position and possibly strains the inside of the knee. So what we're going to look at today is get your props ready and place your fingers, I'm going to have to move my trousers out of the way, place your fingers right behind the knee. Okay, so the legs are parallel to your hips, as if you drew down sort of hip crest to protuberance of kneecap. We're going to place the hands in and then we're going to sit down. So the hands are squeezed and you can see that the muscles and other bits, cellulite, etc., pop out to the side. Okay, but we're just going to settle here. Okay, you may be sat on your heels, or you can, if you want, get yourself positioned where you've got stuff underneath your bottom. And you can see what happens if it's tight in the legs and the ankles and through the quads, then you're going to see the back start to cave. Okay, I'm exaggerating that obviously. So if your back is caving, you're too low. You need to be propped up higher. So get yourself higher. I'm going to move my feet wider so I can sit down. So squeezing just into the calf rather than squeezing it out, and sitting down on the floor. Now the tailbone starts to curl under because of tightness in the legs. So we're going to sit up, stretch up and resettle. So you're going to get the sit bones in contact with the floor or with your cushions, nice and evenly, and just roll the shoulders back and down. I'm going to stay here for a little while. So settle. Make sure you can stay comfortably in this position. Okay, it's not super comfortable. There's going to be pulling on the knee. Prop yourself up as high as you can if you need to. Okay, get yourself nicely comfortable. You can just have a check-in here as well with the plantar. So just the sole of the foot towards the inside of the arch, down to the big toe joint. Press into the big toe joint and up to the inside of the heel. And you can just draw your thumbs down that area and just check in whether that's feeling a bit aggravated. You'll feel if it's aggravated, it'll be a little bit painful to press into, or not. Okay, so just, you can just give a little bit of sort of self-administered reflexology now. So we're going to take some shoulder openings here. We're going to take front and back claps. Now it doesn't matter if the hands don't touch behind. Eventually they might as the exercise goes on. We're looking to keep that neutral spine. So we're going to clap the hands in front, straight arms, okay, level with the floor, which I'm not quite, and then back and clap behind. Yes, you're going to bend your arms. clap forward, clap back, clap forward, clap back. Speed it up, keeping the arms straighter as you start to open up the hips, shoulders. Yeah, if I got my anatomy right, wouldn't it? So, speed it up. You can go quite fast, gets quite fun. The dogs start to get a bit concerned. Here they come. Oh, sorry, Pippi, I just whacked her in the face. Pippi, you're right in the way. Oh, Pippi, sorry, baby. So, you can continue that. It's a really nice thing to do, particularly if you're spending time at a desk. Move yourself away from the desk and do some clapping. Get the shoulders moving. Open up the pectoral muscles into the deltoids, round into the shoulder girdle. Get it warmed up. Okay. So we're going to take a gentle twist here. So we're going to just clasp the fingers behind. If you want to close the hands, great. If you don't, just want a loose clasp. If you want a really nice open clasp, you've got your strap. So grab whatever you need. Drop the shoulders down the back and pop the heart center through to the front as you tuck the chin in. The aim here is to grow and open the chest and grow and open the pectoral muscles. Draw the shoulder blades together, breathing in, maintaining that neutral spine, and then breathing out, just rolling one shoulder open and turning. It's quite difficult, particularly without the hands to help, so just work to where you can. No need to ratchet the head round, just bring the head in line with the heart. Breathe in back to center and breathe out, turn the other way. You'll see that potentially sort of spinal mobility, chest mobility, shoulder mobility is a little bit constricted. So just repeat it 3 or 4 times. Breathe in here, stay if you want to, or keep moving through and just see if you can increase the range of movement. It won't be by much, okay, but we're just warming up those wraparound muscles. Deep muscles in the back, stability muscles, deep muscles wrapping around the sides of the body into the obliques. Banders in, so getting those deeper muscles working as well. Lovely, release that off when you're ready. Okay, so then we're going into now table reverse twists, table reverse lifts, I should say, not twists. Carefully does it then, we're going to go to seated. So hallelujah, you can release your virasana, your hero, and release it off, not reclining today. Bring yourself into a position where your feet are out in front and you've got nice stability, so the legs are nicely in line with the hips. Bring the fingers back behind you. You'll know a suitable space. It's entirely up to you how low or high you go. The main point of this is to grow the heart through and up, opening the chest. Draw the shoulder blades together. There's a softness in the elbows here, you can see. And then breathing in, stretching through the top of the head and tucking the chin in. This might be enough for you, just holding and popping open the chest. Channel your inner babs. Okay, here we go. Keep breathing. You can lift and hover, or you can lift all the way up and lower back down. So we've got lots of stages. Lifting up, hovering. Some people find hovering hard, so lifting up and pushing through and activating the glutes and the legs to help. Some people find that better and easier. Okay, and bring yourself back down. Repeat a couple of times here, keeping that stability through all the areas of the hands and the fingers. So what you can do then is bring yourself up. You can drop the head back if you like it and stay, or you can keep it active and a bit more dynamic, where you can lower down and float off the floor, bring yourself back up, lower down and float, bring yourself back up. You choose, okay? You don't have to be dynamic if you don't want to. You can just keep it nice and easy. Drop down, push up, and lower yourself down. You'll feel activity zipping up and down the triceps at the back of the arms, down the forearms, into the hands. If you've been a bit static this week and doing maybe a lot of computer work, you might feel some buzzing through the wrists and up into the forearms. Carpal tunnel issues, just be careful with this. Just make sure that you're feeling good. Prop yourself a bit higher if you need to release the strain and the angle through the wrist joint. Okay, lovely. So we're going to come up to a down dog now. So you've got your choice here. You can either just move yourself around into a down dog, or you can clasp the feet, tuck them under, and release yourself back. Okay. Find your dog, very soft to start with. Open up the hands.
just about the right dimensions for your shoulder heads, and stretching up and away. Straightening the legs because we've already straightened them today, pushing all 5 toes down into the floor and stretching away. Pedal, just pedal to start with, just lightly pedaling through. You can speed it up or you can focus on one side and then the other side, stretching through. You find the outer hip starts to open up a little bit more the more you spend time in these things, and particularly if you've had any ankle injuries, you might find that one ankle, like mine, doesn't go down to the floor, probably never will, and the other one might. So just check in with each side of your sort of biomechanics, as it were, and just check in with how you're doing. Lovely. Going to spin the feet wider now. If you need to rest out of this at any point, then do. And we're going to twist and spin, hold, flattening the feet if you can. Twist and spin, flattening the feet if you can. You'll feel the stretching moving across the back, stretching out. It's a little bit like a weirdy plank, so if you need to rest out at any time, it's quite strong on for the upper body, so men will find it a bit easier than women, but just check in and rest if you need to rest. Swiveling, you can feel the muscles of the back starting to open, the muscles at the side, so through the serratus and the obliques, you can feel that working. Lovely. Kneeling down, just resting out if you need to. Fantastic. So carefully does it then, we're going to go straight into some high lunges. So without taking the sun salutations to start with, we're going to work towards standing. So we're going to take a high lunge arm clasp first. So we're going to bring ourselves into our down dog again. Find a nice dog, soft, it's fine. Lengthening the spine, activating the arms, drawing the arms back in, stretching through the tail. Stretch the right leg out the back, or high, you choose, and sweep it through to the front. High heel at the back, find your proportions and bring that knee above the ankle at the front. Pushing in, bring yourself up, rise, settle, and curl the tail under and drop down. Here we go. We're looking to straighten the back leg here. So there might be a shift off at the front where we push back and push in to the back heel. Okay, the heel might not go down to the floor, that's absolutely fine, it's going to raise, but we want this back leg to be straight, and we're going to bring yourself forward again. So the back leg is fully activated and as straight as you can without pushing backwards through the knee. It's more like pushing down through the heel. Bring the hands into the arm clasp, open up the chest, pop the heart through, tuck the chin in, and lift that clasp away from the lower back. Lengthen, so without really changing the legs, we stretch and lengthen through the top of the head and take it into more of a back bend. Listen to what's going on in the lower back, just find where you can be comfortable. It's more about the expansion than about how deep your back bend is. Release that off, fantastic. I'm going to change it now into Gomukhasana arms, so it's going to be different. So front leg will be right leg, back left arm will rise up, drop it into the shoulders and bend through the elbow. Strap can work here if you need it, or clasp, press the hands into the back or clasp the hands behind. Lift the top elbow, scoop that armpit forward as you drop the right shoulder down. Same rules apply, pop the heart through and straighten the back leg and then start to lengthen. Up to you really how much of the back bend you go into. Really doesn't need to be mega, just focusing on opening into the hips and the shoulders. Keep breathing here, Bandha's working hard. Lovely, release that off back to the perpendicular and release the arms, lovely. Lowering down then, I'm going to drop that knee down. This is where you might need a cushion, so if the floor is hard, pop your knee on a cushion, but just make sure you're still getting that stretch through the back hip and activity through the front hip. So you might want to come off a little bit to start with, okay, and then we're going to sort of push open the hip. So I'm going to bring the thumb into the hip crease of the front leg and settle down,
and then we're going to curl under and stretch and just guide the back of the hip forward on this side. Nothing major, we're not shoving, we're just guiding. So we roll that shoulder open. So we're pushing down into this hip crease here and forward with this hip crease. So we're trying to curl the tail under lightly and stretch up. Pop the heart through and open the chest. Lovely. Breathing here, it's quite strong. Lovely. You can change this as well. You can stretch up and over, release that hand, bring that hand down and stretch yourself up and over. Up to you. Try not to twist off. So there is a sort of slight twist through the shoulder, but try not to twist the torso and pop the torso and the heart up towards the ceiling. Release that off. Fantastic. Bring the knees back together, swan stretch. Knees together if you can, and stretch away. Tuck the belly in. If you feel you're not getting enough openness through the lower back and the bottom, you can grab your cushion, stick it underneath, and really lengthen out forward first. So you're leaving the pelvis behind and then stretch yourself down. It's a little bit claustrophobic, depends how much food you've got in your belly as well. It might not feel very comfortable, but it is a nice back opener. You get a bit more space into the lower back. Lovely, we better take the other side. So hands back into the down dog. Settling here, find your dog, nice and active. Opening up the toes, drawing the arms into the back, stretching through the top of the head, popping the heart through to the floor. Left leg out to the back, stretching out, 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 or bringing the leg up high and sweep it through. High lunge then to start with. Find your pose, carefully balance, knee above the ankle to create that proper activity through the quads, and then carefully bring yourself up. High heel to start with, coming off the centre at the front, and then just pushing back through that heel, trying not to twist off, so keeping that pelvis nice and straight, pushing down and activating the leg. So we're not pushing back through the back of the knee, pushing down through the heel and then drawing that energy back up into the leg. Settle here. Lovely. Take a deep breath in, clasp together, grow the pose, open the shoulders, draw the shoulder blades together and down, and the heart centre through, stretch through the top of the head and pop the heart open. Just lengthen the front and the back of the body equally as you lift the clasp away. You'll call how deep you go here. It is strong. Lovely. Release that off. Gomukhasana then, so stretching the right arm up, so left leg's forward, right arm up, bend at the elbow, stretch and tuck that chin in, open up the armpit and drop the hand behind, strap or press the hands into the back as you find the pose, dropping and opening, lifting and opening, lengthening, draw the heart through to the front and open up again. Straightening that back leg, you really want to get it as straight as you can to get into those hip flexors. Breathing here, drawing in, lovely, releasing off. You may feel a tiny bit of feedback from quadratus lumborum into the multifidus. So releasing that off, lovely. Taking ourselves now into the low arm clasp. So we're going to drop our knee down, bring your cushion in if you need it, and open up that space. Keep checking in with that front knee, and you want as good a space in that low lunge as possible. Excellent. So carefully does it then. I'm going to bring our left thumb into that crease of the thigh and the hip here, pushing down. So settling and opening, balancing, settling into position as we're straightening. We're pushing both feet in evenly here and drawing down with this hip. This hand goes behind, not shoving but guiding. Maybe the thumb on the SI joint or just above is fine, and we're just sort of lengthening and opening. So you'll feel an increased stretch. Some people use the hand and push forward quite high, but just be careful. Find where you can open it a little bit more. Lovely. Carefully does it then. I'm going to change this, release the hand slightly, rest the hand here. I'm going to sweep up and over, avoiding the twist off. You will twist off to start with, and then straighten up, and then carefully does it, lengthen and grow the pose. Keep the buoyancy of the pose. You're not sagging in the middle. Keep everything buoyant, keep breathing, keep lengthening. Straightening off. Lovely. Release that off. Strong work. Bring the knees back together. If they're both on the cushion, so be it. Or if you want to free the cushion. If you prefer wide leg child pose, that's fine. If you want to take the variation of tucking that cushion in and lengthening over. Settle. I find that particularly pleasing after hip work. It just creates a little bit more extension and openness through the lower back. But only if it feels comfortable and you don't feel like you're claustrophobic or it's just too much pressure on your lower back. Keep listening to the feedback you're getting. Lovely. So, quick drink and we're going to come forward to the front of the mat standing. So you can take this via a down dog if you prefer. And jump or step yourself through to the front of the mat. So then, carefully does it. Might come this way actually. So, we're going to bring ourselves into a couple of sun salutations, mainly just to get the whole sort of axial skeleton moving now in a bit of a freer way. Take a deep breath in, sweep wide, lengthen, drop the shoulders in, scoop them forward, star the hands. They don't have to be anywhere near together, although some styles do teach it with the hands together. And soften the knees, breathe out. Push the floor away as you suck the bandhas in, lengthen out, creating space. Think of the space you might have created with that cushion as you breathe out and fold. Soften the knees, push the floor away. We're coming all the way back up again to start with, just opening up the lower back. Stretching up, dropping in and opening, and breathing out. Same again, moving back a little bit now. Breathe in, drop the shoulders in, scoop the shoulders, lengthen, soften the knees, suck the energy from the floor into the bandhas. It's almost like you're ready to spring forward. Extend, keep popping the heart through to the floor as you fold over. Breathe in, extend, hands to shins is fine if you're not going to the floor. Activate that back. Lovely, rolling back and down. Place, stride right, stride left, chaturanga to up dog, or knees down. Carefully roll the shoulders, kick the heels of the hands into the floor, push the L's of the hands into the floor as the elbows drop away, the shoulders drop away, and you lower down carefully to the floor. With your bandhas as your safety net, draw the shoulders and the elbows together as you lift up, sucking those bandhas in, press the feet to the floor, and breathe out. Push through, knees if you need to, hinge up to your down dog. Opening up here, change your proportions if you need it. Drop the shoulders up and away, and stretch away. Sucking the legs in, squaring down those toes, and drawing the legs back into the belly. Breathe in, look up, step the left leg forward, then the right, extend away. Ardha Uttanasana, drop the tail, suck the bandhas in, draw the shoulders down the back, look up, heart pops through, and breathe out, fold if you're folding. And then soften, push the floor away, bring yourself all the way back up, and breathe out. Lovely. Same again then, and step back a little bit differently. Deep breath in, and breathe out, fold. Ardha Uttanasana is fine, or full Uttanasana if that's what you prefer. Breathe in, extend. Stepping left, stepping right. Get yourself solid in your plank. Push through the heels, all four corners of the feet. Suck the energy up the legs, drop the knees down, or your chaturanga to your up dog. Dropping the shoulders down, activate those shoulders to activate the back. Lovely. And push yourself back to your down dog. Settling here, take the time. So as long as you're not constantly, she says constantly fiddling, if you're not constantly fiddling with your pose, then just think about settling into position. Readjusting your position is all very well and good. Sometimes, if we're honest with ourselves, it's work avoidance. So just carefully, if you need to pedal, pedal. Take a deep breath in, bring that right leg forward.
Lift up, left leg forward. Extend, stretch away. Ardha Uttanasana. And breathe out, fold. Lengthening. And then when you're ready, bring yourself all the way back up. Softening those knees is all good if you prefer to release the lower back and settle. We're going to take ourselves then into our hip openers. So we're going to take our Utkatasana twist. So just going to bring ourselves into position. Feet together, knees together, or if you prefer, you've got your cushion, you can take it a little bit more into the proportion of your pelvis. So you decide. Open up the toes. Activate all four corners of the feet. That might involve a little bit of wheedling around to get the feet in. Push down as you open up and lengthen through the top of the head. Curling tail under to start with, rather than just like fanning it out. What tends to happen is the booty sticks out as we go down, and then we curl it under afterwards. So if you can curl the tail under and draw that energy much more up through the shins to start with. Hold the pose. High, medium or low arms, you decide. As long as you feel the chest opening and the heart popping through and the back lengthening and the knees are bent, that's the pose achieved. Keep breathing. Carefully does it into the twist. Lots of variations on the twist. Gentle twist, just keeping the bandhas working and rolling around the spine, or you can take it into much more of those deeper poses. Check when that left knee flies forward that you draw that left hip back and press in and stretch away. So keep leveling up the pelvis. There's a tendency to spin off to get deeper. We don't want to achieve that. We want to spin back to the center line. Keep it nicely aligned and stretch, stretch away. Keep drawing everything in. Draw it back to center. Settle. Come to standing in Tadasana if you need to. And then breathe out, taking your twist. Keep nice and long through the back as you settle yourself down to the floor or wherever you're going. Draw that right hip back, suck the bandhas in as you stretch away to the side. Keep breathing here, keep lengthening, bandhas working hard. Lovely. Release it off, fingertips to the floor, stretch away or to the shin if you prefer, lengthening. Breathe out, fold, straightening the legs. Settling into your Uttanasana. Lovely. Excellent. Softening off, push through the floor, bring yourself all the way back up. Take your time, stretch up and breathe out. Lovely. Fantastic. So we're going down to seated again now. We're not spending much time standing today if we're focusing on our hips. And keeping the work low and concentrated. Okay, so not doing lots of the sort of external hip rotation standing, okay, which can aggravate the SI joints, lower back piriformis. Okay, so we're just going to go down then to seated. Bring yourself down however you want. If you want to go through a vinyasa, half vinyasa, that's fine too. Bring yourself down to seated. So we're going to find ourselves with our fingers out back. Yes, I've written something there. Ah, that's right. Yes, I haven't got my glasses on. I can't quite see what I've written. So carefully does it then. I'm going to bring the feet together. So still in that sort of semi-table position. This time we're going to take our hands out. So we're going to fan the fingers outwards and bring the fingers backwards. Okay. So here we need to keep a bit of softness in the elbow, okay? We're not locking out the elbows here. Okay, so open up the chest. Start the pose effectively from the heart center. Stretching up through the top of the head, tuck the chin in. Grow the pectoral muscles, draw the shoulder blades together. Keep that softness in the arms as you push the arms down. Straightening the legs and stretching away. If you prefer, feet can be flexed or pointed, you decide. Keep drawing the energy in and keep growing the pose. Lovely. I'm going to scoot further away, so just bring the feet flat, scoot further away, open up the pose, stretch away. Keep the legs bent if you need to, and keep that little bit of softness Draw the arms into the body rather than pile drive down through the hands, just to avoid that locking out of the elbows. Grow the pose. You may feel like it's sort of going towards a very odd flying lady version of fish, where you travelate across the bottom, pop everything through and open up. Lovely. Flex the feet if you need to change. Soften the elbows or release that off. Quite a strong one, that, through the shoulders. Okay, lovely. So going to lie flat now. There is an option to do this pose with a cushion underneath your pelvis, depending on how hard your floor is. So it's up to you. Or again, I find pushing into the floor with the pelvis quite helpful in locust. I'm just going to scoot those out the way. So we're going to bring ourselves lying flat on the floor. Obviously have a blanket as well if you prefer, popped underneath the bony bits of the pelvis to give yourself a little bit of comfort. So we're going to bring ourselves into an arm clasp locust. So we're going to just turn the head to one side to start with, turn the head to the other side, bring the hands together behind. I'm going to roll each shoulder open, draw the clasp away from the back and lift the clasp open. The chest grows, stretching through the top of the head. The legs can stay down at this point and you're opening up, and then the final pose is bringing the legs in. There's huge amounts of energy zipping up and down the legs and the arms. Find where you can hold, lovely, and release it off. Place the hands a little pillow, bend the legs, windscreen wiper the legs, change your head position just as you're moving through the pose. Excuse me. Carefully does it. Make sure your lower back is happy and relaxed. Lovely. Excellent. So carefully then, having done our locust, we're going to look at a seated Ustrasana. So this is going back into that dreaded kneeling position. So now we've opened things up a little bit. Give it a go, okay, without the prop. Doesn't matter if you're sat on your heels, if you're going down to the floor between the feet, between the heels, that's fine too. Bringing the hand in, pushing in to the calves and getting yourself sat down. Knee pain is not ideal in this pose, so make sure you're going to be happy and comfortable, okay? Check in again with that sort of caving of the lower back. If you start to collapse in this pose, chances are you're a bit too low, so you need to prop your bottom up just a little bit to allow yourself to get into this lovely neutral spine position. Sitting here for a moment, going into a sort of camel-esque version. So we're going to sweep each hand round, tent the hands, or fists is fine as well, or flat hands if you know that's what you can get to. So up to you, probably high fist or tent to start with. Grow the chest, pop the heart through. There is like a sort of settling of the pelvis. What feels like is happening is you start to kick the tail back behind you, which increases the lordosis in the lower back. You may or may not want that. So just listen to what's going on through your lower back. Breathing here, settling away, moving sort of towards hero here, as you can see, a proper hero pose. Flattening the hands, opening. Really think about the space that you're creating in the spine here. So it's not just to collapse back onto the floor. There is a lengthening up, up and away, stretching away, down to the forearms if you feel you can get there. You can also do this pose against a sofa if you can get your legs just in the right position. Pop and open and stretch open here. Think about the length of the spine. Now the tail starts to curl under to allow the pose to develop. You'll feel an increased stretch through the front of the thighs into the quads. Popping the heart open, staying here. This might be enough. If you're very happy, I might be too close to the wall here, you may want to settle yourself down. Yes, the knees will momentarily lift and then you will settle into position. Obviously then there are variations if you're going down much more deeply you know if you can in these positions. It's a big stretch, it's a big ask of the lower back. Just take your time, and then getting out of it, also take your time. There is no need to go down to the floor, there is no need to go down to your forearms if you rather not do that, okay? It's more about the extension and the openness of the chest and the length of the spine, rather than whether you look like you've been run over by Wile E. Coyote. Oh, sorry, Wile E. Coyote's been run over by Roadrunner. So you look a bit flat. Okay, lovely. Good news though, we're going to come now to seated and take a seated twist. So carefully bring yourself out of your hero pose. Grab your cushions and strap a bit closer. Okay, I'm going to bring ourselves into Lord of Fishes. So there's going to be a variation here as well into Wild Thing, Kamatkatasana. Your choice really whether you want to go into that. Okay, and I'll talk you through it. Otherwise, we can just hold Lord of Fishes and variations on. So carefully does it then. We're going to bring ourselves into straight leg position. Going to bend the leg and cross it over and draw that leg in to the body. The left leg is really just still straight out of the hip joint and is nicely activated. Careful not pushing the back of that knee into the floor. Make sure you draw the energy into the hip. Sit up nice and tall. Carefully swap the left arm over. We're looking for that tallness, we're looking for the bandhas, and we cross that arm over. Tent the hands behind and turn yourself into position. Lovely. Excellent. Keep breathing here, sucking everything in. Flatten the hand behind, which means you just sort of cave off the straightening bit. If you're moving out of this pose, if you're staying in this pose, then just keep lengthening, lifting and drawing the legs into the belly and the bandhas in. Otherwise, release that, keep that hand flat with the fingers spun out behind as you open up the leg and spin yourself out. So we're going to stretch up and over into a sort of semblance of a Wild Thing. Bring yourself over and round and swap yourself over. So left leg this time straight, bent in, right leg straight out, activate the right leg, bring that left leg over and draw it in. Keep centering yourself, so thinking about the direct proportions, so leg straight out of hip joint rather than off to the side. Sit up nice and tall, big bandhas, and then move yourself through, catching the leg, changing that position into the bigger pose, nice and tall, hand flat behind or tented. Keep breathing here, keep the height of this pose, keep lengthening, pushing down through the foot and drawing the energy into the hip. Breathing here. Lovely. Release that off, flatten the hand at the back as you sort of lie back a bit, change the position, bring that leg out to the side and open yourself up into Wild Thing. Either flat foot, or I tend to go up on the heel in this version, and release it down, twisting off to the side and drawing yourself back in. Lovely. So bring yourselves carefully then. Going to need a cushion now, so grab a cushion or two, have them handy. Going to take a strap and cushion Paschimottanasana. So we're going to bring the cushion in, tuck it into the belly, sit up nice and tall. The legs are out straight. If you find that the legs start to collapse inwards, pop that other cushion between your feet. I'm going to drop that strap around the feet. Now again, not about getting your face to your knees or getting yourself towards your feet. This is all about lengthening up and out. So you can squidge in here, hold the side of your strap or scarf, think about the shoulders. The work comes from the heart. Pop the heart center open, drop the shoulders down the back and tuck the chin in. Push through the heels so potentially that energy is zipping up and down the legs but not forcing out through the back of the knee. And then breathe out, we're just hinging. So lengthening, hinging. Yes, you're going to tug quite hard with these hands, that's okay, but keep thinking about the activity in the back as you're doing that. And folding, stretching. So the fold is not a fold in the true sense. The fold is that you're literally just closing the space between the belly
and the thighs. The heart keeps popping through to the front as you lengthen over. This cushion is creating some space in the back. You're feeling a strong stretch through the backs of the legs and stretch away. Lovely. Find where you can settle in this pose. Release the strap maybe and rest the hands and hold and use the activities in the shoulders, back and legs to open up and stretch the hamstrings into the bottom and the lower back. Releasing that off. Pop those out to the side. Lovely. And we're going to bring ourselves in now to an eagle Baddha Konasana. So again, up to you whether you have yourself popped up with a cushion underneath your bottom. Okay, there's the option also to have a cushion underneath your feet if you've got bony feet like me and you find the floor quite hard. Okay, so you can pop your feet up on that and find your Baddha Konasana. So we did the legs at the start, but we're now going to bring ourselves into the fuller pose. So holding the feet to start with, pressing the four corners of the feet together, activating the legs as you stretch and lengthen the inner thigh down towards the knees. Roll the shoulders back and down and pop the heart through to the front. There are planes going over all day today. Keep breathing. Breathing here, creating space. Staying here is enough for you, you can just stay here. There's the option obviously to do the flat back fold, Baddha Konasana B, or then the bent back fold, sniffing your own feet, having a good old check of those feet particularly as well, seeing if there's anything untoward. Okay, alternatively we're going to take eagle arms. So we're going to wrap the arms wide, the back will collapse a little bit, so if you find the back collapsing you may want to prop up underneath your bottom. Open up the arms wide, cross the arms over as straight as you can, stretch and open, bend the elbows. Press the hands together or the arms together, wrap around if you can, it doesn't matter if you can't. Drop the elbows, drop the chin, but draw the shoulders back and away. So the shoulders draw back and down as if you're drawing the shoulder blades back and down into the back ribs. Then lengthen and fold. There is a hinge here. I'm going to keep the cushion out for this one. Lovely. So stretching up and away. Breathing here. Keep the shoulders moving backwards and downwards as you lengthen out of the lower back. Opening up the soles of the feet if that's easier and stretching away. Bring yourself back up. Check which arm was on top before you release it. Stretch away, lengthen. Straight arms again, the other arm coming up over the top. Bend at the elbow. Find where you can clasp. Drop the shoulders back and down into the back ribs as you then lengthen. So you're not caving the chest, you're not caving the shoulders. What you're doing is dropping the elbows, rolling the shoulders back and down, popping the heart through to the front, stretching through the top of the head, and then lengthening up and over. And again, pushing the outer edge of the feet together and stretching away. One knee's a lot higher than the other today, I don't know what's going on here. Stretching away, lengthening. Lovely. Release yourself off. Bring yourself back up. Crossing the legs into a comfortable seated position. Again, if you need to prop yourself, that's fine. We're going to take your Mudrasana here with a twist first. So just find where you can be comfortable. Find your comfortable seated position. Releasing off that forward fold, releasing out the activity through the shoulders and the back. So carefully, we're leading with the heart here. So we're not ratcheting round. We're carefully just moving the hand into the center, rolling the right shoulder open, and the heart leads. So the heart leads, the heart pops through, and the twist naturally occurs. And we're not ratcheting the head round. So the heart leading the pose now. Breathing in. Band is working here, stretching out. The breathing is important here to get the breath into the right place. Hand into the center, left shoulder open. The heart leads, pop the heart through to the front, and then bring the heart carefully round. It's a subtle change in these twists if you've been doing them a particular way. Keep breathing. Breathing in back to center. Lovely.
Yoga Mudrasana. Feel free to change the legs over for this then to your uncomfortable side, everybody's favourite. So take a deep breath in, sweep the arms forward and round, loose clasp behind. You can take the loose strap as well if you prefer. Breathe in, pop the heart open, drop the chin, drop the shoulders, move the clasp away. Band is lightly working here as you lengthen up and over. Keep drawing down through the sit bones so you don't have to get to the floor. If the sit bones start to leave, then sit back up, draw those sit bones down and stretch away. Breathing here, 5 to 10 breaths. When you're ready, bring yourself all the way back up. Slowly does it. Settle for a moment. Don't have to rush into your Shavasana. Settle, hold, take some pranayama if you prefer at this point. Lovely. So, placing our hand on our chest, just above the heart center, so not necessarily above the heart as in the organ, over the center of the sort of energy chakra for the body. Stretching up tall, dropping the chin down. Place both hands there if you prefer. Breathing into the hands. So Ujjayi breath, lifting the chest into the hands. There is the option as well of just finding with the index finger and thumb of a hand the collarbones, so obviously these are the bony shelves just at the base of the neck, and just pressing down a bit further, so come in towards the centre and towards the edge of the collarbones, and then come down under the next rib, okay, and come in towards the centre. You'll feel there's just a natural little dip there, just either side of the breastbone. So obviously you've got a bony bit right in the middle, just to the side there's a little dip. Press the index finger and the thumb in here and just stretch up and tuck the chin in and breathe. Again, breathing into the thumb and the index finger. Keep doing that. This is very useful for those moments where maybe you feel that you've got a tight chest that's due to anxiety, or you've got a fluttering in the chest.